Okay, on today's video we're going to talk about how to take just a $100 bill, $100 or basically the equivalent in your own currency. Actually, if you're outside of the US, this whatever I mentioned to you here will work 2, 3, 4, 5 times better depending on what country you're from. Because of the level of competition with PPC is much less out of the USA. So anything I give you here that works in the top hyper-competitive USA will work for your market. But basically, I think I get a lot of questions from people. They think basically, look, everybody wants to be able to get rich quick. PPC isn't so much a get-rich-quick scheme, mainly because there's a lot of work involved cumulatively overall to build. Like, if you want to generate millions of dollars a year in sales, you're not going to do it in 5 hours, okay? You can, but what I'm going to tell you on this video is within just a few hours, you can have something that's profitable, and you don't have to put more than $100 in your ads if you follow my tutorial here, so that you don't have necessarily the excuse or barrier to entry to do PPC for your business if you don't have a lot of money starting out. Go ahead, put a little bit more elbow grease into it than somebody else, is the average person's going to do starting out, and you can your foot is in the door to where that $100 generated at least one sale. That one sale you could then use to spend the next 100, and you're off to the races. That's what everything you're doing PPC, if you're just starting out, should be about. How do I make enough money off this initial spend, or how do, with as little money as possible, get break-even profitable so that I could use that momentum and my data about what's working and what's not working and just keep the snowball rolling. And actually, it's going downhill at that point because you have no investment. Okay, I ran the ads a little longer. More sales came in. Oh, if I just shut this, and this off, it's even more profitable. Okay, let's keep going. There is no, should I pull out or should I, it's just going to get more and more and more profitable, especially if you follow the optimization techniques I give you that I use on some of these other videos. So, basically speaking, I'm going to tell you how to use that $100 start out with to generate at least one sale, so you could build up to a huge multi-million-dollar a year campaign, which is obviously going to take more work, but this gets you started in the process, okay? So if I only had basically $100 to invest into PPC ads, again meaning that I had only $100 to spend, and I'm in a market that, where I'm just starting in business, if I only had $100 to invest to make money already to keep it going, what would I actually do? So that question is specifically being answered here, and I'm going to get into it. At the end of the video, I'm going to actually talk about, so after I give you the actual methodology on how you're going to do this, I'm going to give you examples of other companies where within the first $100, bam, they were already making money. Yes, you got to do what nobody else is doing, but that's the key to life. That's the key to business. Figure out what people want. Don't just say, I got this, and shove it down people's throats. Just find out what people want and give it to them. And then you get all the money. And respectively speaking, you could have a boring product or service. You could just be a plumber. I don't want to do anything crazy. Okay, fine. You could take the PPC and make it unique enough to where you beat all the other plumbers just by being unique about how you're marketing it, which I'm going to have an example from a plumber as one of the 3 case studies I'm going to give you here. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to get into it. Before I give you the actual methodology, I'm going to give you the other flip side of this. The average person, so I've said it many times on my videos before, 90% of people who try PPC, they fail. It's just like businesses. Most people start a business, they fail. Why? Because they give up too early is the main thing. And then the other thing is they run out of money. And they run out of money because they don't put enough work into it. Any business assuming that you already have the deliverables ready. Marketing wise, you could find customers if you just, even if you don't have money, if you just put you put the elbow grease, and there's always a free way to get your first customers, and then you can start putting that into paid advertising and then build it up. But in the situation where somebody gets enough money and they say, I think I'm going to try Google ads. Google's going to give me a free credit. I'm going to try that out. And then they try it out. They spend 15 minutes setting up their ads. That money's vaporized. They have no clue what happens. And they're like, oh, man. And it's over with. Some people obviously get further than that. But as I mentioned many times on my videos, you need to go in with a plan if this is going to work. People who actually succeed in business plans don't work, but they at least have okay, I need X, basically speaking, so that when you get there, if you're not getting X, you could then change the strategy, but you never change the end goal you're looking for. And if you just wing it, even first of all, if you didn't get it, you don't know you basically don't know when you have won already anyway, and it's complicated because when you spend it, you might get a sale and it's mixed in with all the rest of your sales, you don't even know if it's working. So people don't do that. They spend 15 minutes setting up their ads, their money's gone, and they basically have nothing to show for it. Whereas the people who do make it work starting out, actually, assuming they treat it like that's the last $100 bill that they have to their name, and if it doesn't work, they're going to die. Respectively speaking here, they want to overcompensate for what they think they need. And once you do that, and once the average, 90% of people are spending 15 minutes starting out, you're the one that, there's 10 or 20% in any market that makes money with PPC, the big money. Everybody else either makes a tiny bit or they lose money. And that's set up by Google so that people are constantly pressing to have a better experience for their users. They don't want everybody to just win. So people are constantly improving. And so you're in that top 10 to 20% class who makes the millions of dollars long term for what you have set up. So how most people start off their venture in doing the PPC ads, which is, I got a short bullet point list that sums it up. They pick a platform. Okay, I heard my friend John said Facebook ads work or Google ads, whatever. So they probably heard through a referral that it can work. If not, they look at their competitor. He's doing it. It must work. Okay. They get yourself a credit card. They open an account. Because it's so easy to open an account myself. Oh, I don't need anybody to help. I don't need any information. I'm going to give my money to Google and they're going to make me rich with no work. They create one ad for all their customers and they target everything. That's the key thing. They don't just think about what to target, who to target, how to target them. It's just, okay, here's my plumbing business. Here's my money, Google. Find me customers, okay? And then, boom, the money's gone in 2 seconds. It's themselves to blame. It's not to blame Google or the world. It's your fault. Because there's plenty of free information on how to do this the right way, i.e. this video. And then, they'll set up their campaign, that first campaign they set up with just one ad that targets all their keywords, or Facebook, of course, one ad that targets one kind of audience there, and set the daily budget to spend it all in 30 days, and then it's gone, basically. No time to optimize it even. So if you spread a budget out over a longer period of time, you could at least tweak what you're doing. With $100, obviously it's hard to do. So that's the typical. And on Facebook, you have $100. I could tell you, usually speaking, because that's algorithmically driven. You basically got to get customers to find out how to find more customers. Due to Google's, thousands of data points that they have on all their users, you're not going to really make money on $100 on Facebook unless you have something that's super, super in demand, like you're offering tree cleanup after a storm in an area that's just got hit. I've seen people do that. They could clean up. If you got the equipment, you're a storm chaser, that's a good idea. But anyway, to getting into what on the flip side of that, if you want to make money right away, basically, you have to make money right away on a $100 investment. Here's what you basically will do. When your goal is to spend the first $100 and get your first sale, I'm going to recommend starting out with Google or Bing if you can do it. When I say if you can do it, Bing, if you haven't watched my other videos, and I've got videos about Bing, you're usually going to get 50% higher ROI on Bing than you are in Google because the cost per click is lower. the conversion rates are higher. And it works a lot. Things are skewed a lot more to the more profitable side if you're marketing to an older audience, by the way, just as a small side trick to learn about starting out and getting the maximum value in the shortest time here. And because you could sub-target so well with search advertising, you can make it work right away. You could find that perfect, obvious keyword that if somebody gets to your site, they're going to buy, and without question. And you don't need machine learning that Google provides, or specifically like Facebook, like I mentioned, to figure out how to place your ad to get in front of the right people. That is just going to generate that $10 cost per customer number that you're looking for. So if you don't, though, specifically, if you don't have enough volume, since Bing only has 10% of the market roughly of searches, if your market's not big enough, you just got to go through Google, and that's just kind of how it is on your first $100. Now, as I kind of touched on before, you need to find your numbers. So with this method, it's not really that relevant here, but every single campaign I do, and if I'm working with a client, I force them, and we work together to find out what they need for a cost per sale to where they can reinvest the money, part of the money back that they made back into it. And so we're looking for a target cost per sale before we spend a single dollar on ads, so that when we get into it, it's not even. It really irritates me if I can get a campaign that works and they're like, whoa, let's stop. Well, why didn't we think about this ahead of time, what we need? That way when we get into it, we're not, wonder if it works. I'm panicking. I don't have money this week because there's no sales. I stop. So that's like literally what happens a lot of times. So even if we do look at our numbers up front. So at the very least, you have to do that in that way that it's clear, and especially if you're working with somebody, you know where the goalposts are. Then you set up your tracking so you know how to track. And if you did win at the end of the first $100, or even if you didn't, what you need to do to adjust what you're willing to pay to hit your target number. So basically, if you're generating leads, you need to be able to track the lead all the way to a sale. If you're doing e-commerce, you need to be able to track if somebody goes to the cart, or if you have online ordering, you need to be able to do call rail and track people that call in, so that you can track the calls by source, and then your sales, so that you can find out what your cost per sale is. And then of course you already have factored in what your margins are, and you know what your cost per sale needs to be. So you spend the $100, you figure out what your cost per sale was, and you can either keep going for a little while and then adjust, or you adjust right away. I need a $100 cost per sale. I got 200. I'm going to reduce what I'm willing to pay for this traffic in half by adjusting my cost per click, and then now I have what I need. If you need money sooner than later and you don't have a lot of money to invest, you can right away make an adjustment like that at the end of the first $100, and it will take slower to take off, but at least you don't need any more money. So you set up that tracking. So a lot of people skip these steps because it's hard. It takes work. If you want to be in the statistics of the people who make it work, the 10%, start off giving yourself the highest chances possible for this to work. Next, now we're getting into the main meat of this, which is the differentiator between you, who's going to make it work right away, and somebody else who is not going to have anything to show for it once they spend $100. Pick just one single subservice or product to market. So as I mentioned before, they'll create, normally people starting out that first $100, they'll pick, they have a plumbing service, they'll just market everything on their website. Everybody who wants, it doesn't matter what they want, as long as it's related to plumbing in some way, they're paying for it. And then their money's gone already. Find a subservice if you're offering a service, or offering a product if you're offering a product that is very, very specific. To give you an example, in the service space, I'm going to talk, and this is part of the case study, instead of, if you're a plumber, offer a clogged toilet unclogging service. And that's, you might say, but Corey, that's just plumbing. As for purposes of getting a sale on your first $100 that you need to keep all this going, that's what you need to be thinking about doing. And yes, it might take an additional work to set up a page on your site that's for that exactly, because that's part of how you make this work, and that's what I'm talking about here. Well, you do it anyway because you want to make a sale on the first $100. If you have a product that you're going to market, well, you probably don't need. So you could set up a landing page for this. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But basically speaking, instead of offering, if you offer a whole bunch of different paint, you're a paint seller, e-commerce paint seller, don't market every product in your store. Pick one product that's specialized to a specific task, maybe even a specific color, and then you just create a campaign for that, okay? That's going to give you, because the people that are more specific in what they want, the conversion rate's higher, a lot higher, and the cost per click is lower because there's less competition. Mostly people are too lazy to target people looking for a specific paint for a specific application and a specific color, so that you take advantage of that, and then it gives you such an advantage that you can get a sale in your first $100. And so that's so polar opposite of somebody just marketing all the paint in their store because they're lazy and they don't want to do this stuff, or they just don't know. Some people genuinely don't know. You're just going to go after that one customer is looking for that exact product that you have. There may not be anybody else offering it. And through your ability to offer a better user experience, that person who wants that exact item, you're going to send them directly there. Your ad's going to tell them exactly what they want to hear, that you have that product in stock, send them directly to the page. What you have now is so super streamlined that it can work right away. There's no learning or what ifs involved in the process anymore. Now, as far as keywords go, you're taking this one step further to make it even a higher chance that you're going to make your first sale in the first $100 already. If you offer a service, then do service or buying terms. So if I'm offering a tax service, I don't want to have tax returns, something generic like that. I want tax service in Toronto, or back tax resolution services, not back tax resolution, which that's an arbitrary term. We don't know exactly what they want. Maybe they want the service, that could be, but statistically, we want to cut out all the unknowns. Go after just back tax resolution services, back tax resolution firms. You narrow it down to just the quote-unquote buying terms. For a product, to give you an extra high chance of making it work, if you can get away with it, find terms that have the word cheap or buy. So if you're selling, let's say you're selling RC hobby supplies. If somebody, and a lot of times people will type in buy RC, 6-foot aircraft or whatever. You want that keyword's much higher converting than RC planes 6-foot wingspan or whatever, as I just mentioned there. The other one was cheap. Now, you don't have to be the cheapest one, but if you can be in the lower kind of half of the price points, words with cheap or cheapest convert like 3 to 4 times than what a word without the word cheap on it. Why? Because it shows more immediacy in what that user's intent is. So, and when you're only spending $100, you don't need that many, basically clicks. And it might take you 2-3 months to spend the $100, but the clicks you get, they are going to be beautiful. Convert at, instead of 0.5% or 1%, what most people are going to get right away, if they get that, yours is going to convert at 5 to 10%. And it's basically impossible not to make a sale in the first $100 that way. Okay, so anyway, you get the picture. Moving forward here, you create a dedicated sales page with a short-term offer on it, i.e. call this week for a special discount. So with your plumber example that I gave you, basically instead of what most people do starting out is they just push people to a page, people looking for plumber services, you'll send them, if you're lucky, to a landing page or the home page, and there's nothing there that asks the user to do anything. If you ask a good salesperson, they'll always tell you have to ask for the sale. When they get to your page about your plumbing service, in this case the clogged toilet service, you're going to tell them exactly what to do and ideally what they're going to get if they respond now versus later, which eliminates procrastination and eliminates people basically wanting to go back to Google to click on something else, or not responding right away, basically, bottom line. If you have an e-commerce business, you could still do landing pages like that, and you could still ask the user to do something for you so that you get an even higher response rate than you could targeting just one product or service and then having these very special keywords that don't have a lot of volume but have super high conversion rates, and know that it'll work immediately for you starting out. So with the pre-lander, I got an e-commerce site with all these products, but I call it a pre-lander. You sell jewelry. I'm going to have a page, instead of when the person's looking for diamond rings with 14 karat gold and 3 karat diamond ring. They're specific. I'm sending them to a page that has an offer on it, and then if they're interested in the offer, they can go directly to the product after that, click through and buy, or they can call. That is going to get you a lot higher response rate even yet, so that you can make a sale in the first $100. You're basically making it guaranteed that you're going to make a sale in the first $100 here once you do that. And so, what that page is doing is it gives you an opportunity to speak to the user on an individual basis. Okay, you were looking for 3 karat diamond rings. We put that on our ad, made it so that no matter if they search for that exact keyword, our ad says that exactly. We don't mess around. The headline says that. And then the second headline has an offer that says 10% off this weekend only. Click to see details or something like that. You can't say click on a Google ad, but you get my point. So that they see, okay, they got what I want. I know what's on the other side of this ad. And they have something that other people aren't willing to offer. And so I'm going to click and see what this is. And they get to a page, and it tells them about the short-term offer you have that's going to offer them the 10% off. You don't have to offer 10% off. You can do something that basically costs nothing, which I'm going to show you in the case studies here in a minute, so that person's engaged, and so that immediately they want to call or they want to go through and they want to buy, so they don't procrastinate, like I said. And so you're going to get an even higher response rate if you can, especially for items that are over $100 in price, to get that person to call. In order to take advantage of this, call now, or have an opportunity so that a live chat operator can show up for that user when they hit the page right away, not just in the lower right hand part of the screen, but right away pops up and says, hey, we do have that special, do you have any, can I help you find something that'll work for you? If you get the person to talk to you, your likelihood of that person buying triples, basically. The longer you speak to somebody, by the way, the more likely they are to buy even yet. So if you want to maximize your conversion rate, you have that page, you have the offer on it that tells them what they're getting at special and why they're getting it. It's for Mother's Day or Father's Day or whatever, and how long it's going to be good for. And to take it the last bit further, that if they want it, they have to do something, i.e. give you a call so that your salesperson can engage with them, and then you lock them in. At that point where you got them on the phone or you start chatting with them through the chat, they're so invested in the process. There's a psychological principle of users. They want to be consistent, and so if they feel like they've invested in the process, they're less likely to buy back out the more invested they are. So it's everything you're doing is just getting that person more and more invested in the process by not being generic in how you're marketing it. So that's how you take it the rest of the way. So, and that works again for products or services. Either way, same kind of principle applies. So most people, this is getting well beyond what most people are going to do. But if you're marketing a very, very, very specific product SKU on your site, and you have a page that takes them to, that you're telling them that this week only we're offering this, and here's why you want it, and if you want it, give us a call, talk to our product expert that can talk you through your needs, answer any questions you have. That's going to give you an amazing conversion rate, especially when you combine that with the person's not only saying, you're only getting them if they actually say buy the item that you're marketing. So you know the user's intent, and of course you know exactly what they want. So it's just, if they're at that point going to buy something, and now you're giving them a reason to buy yours, and you're giving them a reason to stop what they're doing, i.e. talk to them. So And then, of course, I mentioned about the ad that you're going to have for this, but the ad, whatever offer you use on your landing page, if you're going to take it all the way like I talked about, to give you basically a virtual guarantee that this will work in the first $100 to where you'll get a sale for yourself already, and money's really an issue for you. Anybody can create a landing page in Wix or whatever. You can easily do this for yourself for basically for free. That the offer you come up with is in the ad. I talked about this. You have, buy 3-carat diamond rings. This is the keyword, for instance. Your ad headline says, buy 3-carat diamond rings. It literally just regurgitates what the user wants. That's going to get you the highest click-through rate, which means the lowest cost per click possible, and highest quality refined, user. And that user, exactly what they want, and they're not going to be looking for something else potentially, which drops your conversion rates when they get to your site. You're eliminating obscurity and chances that person's not qualified for you, and you end up paying for them. And then the second headline always then says special offer this weekend only, like I said. Call for details, and then they click on the ad, and then it says what the offer is. Call for details to get the special offer here. So there's your full funnel kind of that you use, and if you want to make a sale right away in the first $100 you're spending, you turn that on. It's so super refined, it will basically work for you every single time right away. So obviously in some markets where you're paying like $30 a click, you might need a little bit more than $100, but the same principles apply. You're giving a person a reason that not kind of want it, but for sure want it, and for sure exactly know what they want already. So you're not educating the buyer on what to buy and how to, different options that are available, and you're giving them more reason than anybody else to buy from you. Even if you're not the cheapest, you find a different way, a gimmick to get that person to stop what they're doing, read, and then respond in some way to your salespeople if you can do it. So that all said, here we're going to get into the case study. I told you I'd give you several examples of how this has worked for other people. These 3 case studies I'm going to give you are basically 3 different instances where within that first $100 we made a sale. So it wasn't me saying, I work with clients that, our services aren't the cheapest. It's the best value. We offer guaranteed returns on services, or you don't pay anything starting out with the other ones doing that. But still, there has to be enough potential return so that once we get you the results, you can pay for the service. So if you had $100, I couldn't help you. Not that I wouldn't want to, but it's just not advantageous for both parties. But, with that said, setting up something so efficient that it gets a sale within the first $100 spent. 3 examples where that happened and what we actually had to do to make it happen, okay? I talked about briefly the couple of examples where this happened before in terms of explaining what the methodology is. But anyway, one of which was the plumber situation. So we had, instead of the plumber, I always ask tons of questions about the industry if I don't know it already. We've worked in so many industries, so I kind of know what works in most industries by now, hundreds of them. But in the plumber space, I knew to make sure it was super efficient, we just, instead of marketing plumber services by itself, we pick and made landing pages for each sub-service, one of which, a big one, is you have obviously a clogged toilet. They want more than just that. A lot of plumbers, they want the more expensive jobs, but one of which is you can generate leads and can make side money from people with a clogged toilet too. And it's a high volume, so little money, but it adds up basically. Landing page, people searching for clogged toilet company, clogged toilet service, and only that starting out. Go to a landing page that offers, and it says something like, can't remember the exact language, clogged toilet services, clogged toilet experts, to, basically saying we're the best ones that do this. And then call number before New Year for special price on this service, basically. So with that, you're giving them you're asking for the sale, and you're giving them a reason to respond now. So you already know exactly what they're looking for. So you already got 90% of the work cut out for you. But they get to your page, and you give them a reason, the other reason, they might not call right away is because they're wondering about price. You're going to tell them you're going to offer them a special price, or they're going to assume it's the cheapest already, and then bam, you got them. So in that particular situation, just doing that, by the way, and that could be replicated for each subservice that you have. If you're a plumber, if you're other home services provider, same thing can happen. Yes, it takes a lot of work to set up landing pages, but it is what it is. And so and it's the same thing. The headline on the ad says, the clogged toilet service. That's what they searched for. The second line says special pricing, this week only. And then, as I talked about before, the ad on the headline, by the way, on a local service like that should be clogged toilet service - Denver. If you're in Denver, so they know that you're local, because even if they are searching for a clogged toilet service, one of the other main things they want to know is, are you local? And then you always make sure the landing page has Denver on it, or whatever part of Denver. You narrow it down to Colorado Springs, or whatever, if that user's and so that no matter where they're searching in your service area, they know for sure that you go there. Very, very important for local service campaigns, which we also did. But with that added up, we had for the clogged toilet service $5 a call. And so, not every call converts, but when that $100, immediately it was making money. So, if you're a plumber, that formula can be followed to a T. You would make it work. Obviously, put a small twist to that. You can add it to any service you want, consumer services, or basically any other services too. But I'll get into, my third example. I have a B2B style funnel like that, so that if you're doing like more of a white collar service or whatever, I'll tell you about that. So the second example moving forward though, stamped jewelry. So there's a different type of specialized jewelry that is stamped. So it's a whole niche. You can Google it if you want, but basically they take stamps and they put it in metal, so it looks it's just a artsy, I don't know how to explain it, but in that particular situation, instead of just marketing everything, it was discovered initially by me that people are searching for specific items in that space even still. Enough which somebody, the jewelry actually says it on the jewelry, and actually different jewelers copy each other based upon what's trending and outside their immediate space as well. But there's people searching for jewelry that say, I used to be his angel. And so with that, all we did was we created a campaign for I used to be his angel stamp jewelry. And that was the only keyword we targeted. And then for the next piece of jewelry that said something else, we did the same thing. But for all practical purposes here, I'm just going to talk about the first one here. So we did that, and to make it even more profitable up front, we created a landing page. So instead of just, again, sending them directly to the product, and it says what it is and the price, and then there's nothing to engage and stop the user in his tracks like you want to make sure you get the sale and somebody else doesn't. We had an offer on the ad, as I mentioned, second headline on the ad can say it, but also on the landing page. Comes with a special gift packaging plus card if ordered this week for Father's Day. So one of the other things that I discover as well before starting up with the client is there's certain times of the year, and also you could see that through the data already, that the sales are higher. So if Father's Day comes up, we want to make a big push on the advertising and get everything set up so we can set up our first ads before Father's Day. It makes more sense to just market the items that sell well during that Father's Day time of the year. And so that's what we narrowed down to everything to. And then we created an offer for Father's Day by itself. So already we know there's going to people going to, that's why Christmas things are so profitable. You know that person's already prepared to buy. So if you could put yourself in that position in your marketing and your PPC, you want to do that. So we already knew statistically they're 2 to 3, 4, or 5 times as likely to buy because they already have a budget set aside for their Father's Day gift. And then when they're searching for, I used to be his angel stamped jewelry, we already know exactly what they want, and we just got to give it to them. And then when we offer them a special that seemingly nobody else is going to offer, the gift packaging, we know already that they're giving this as a gift, then we made out like a bandit basically from that. And then that same system, yeah, it takes a lot of time to set up, but you can easily switch out that landing page once you know it works, put product 2 in there, do the same thing for product 2, And as I said many times on my other videos, yes, I mentioned we're doing here to guarantee our clients results and that it's very profitable. You just start with one product, you know your numbers, and then you pay somebody to do the other 500 items that you have or what have you, and just scale the formula. So instead of just doing everything right away, because that's what people want to do, you get very specific, and then you scale the formula. But it's still a micro strategy but then is scaled across your business like that. But in that particular situation, we had that pre-lander page we sent the traffic to, what I mentioned, and then we also had a chat. I mentioned on my video about live chat, that live chat where you have in the lower right-hand part of the screen, like you can talk to somebody. That doesn't really work that great anymore because everybody has it. Within 5 seconds of people hitting the page saying, hey, can I help you with your Father's Day gift? And to get the maximum engagement on top of that, just to add to and sprinkle on just a bit more responsiveness to the campaign, as I mentioned, if you can get the goodies, if you can get people to call, chat would be the other way to do it, you get even higher response. But in this particular case, $3 a sale in terms of average cost per transaction. The jewelry is only worth about $30, but it's roughly a 10-to-1 return right away. So within that first $100, we already made a couple sales already. And so actually it would be 3 sales because we paid $3 in the first $100. So it's obviously that took a lot of work to get set up. We're talking 100 hours of setup time to make sure you're in position to sell for $3 a sale. But now that thing works. Maybe not for every Father's Day. We get a huge surge of sales for the next 10 years. Basically, nobody's going to copy it because they think we're nuts. So, and you take the learnings and then you do the same thing for Christmas, and you take the learnings and you find a different excuse for a different offer, for a different quote-unquote sale or reason for a sale, all the rest of the year, so that you have that similar kind of emphasis to buy going out throughout the year. I always, if you watch my other videos about coming up with promotions for your PPC ads, it double, triples, upwards in terms of the profitability of your account. July sale, and then it's August sale, and then it's September sale. You just keep doing that to replicate your success. And yes, it's a lot to manage, but once it's set up once, it works for all your future years. And your ads can be set up to turn on for July, and then your July ads turn off, and then August ads turn on automatically. And once you've set up a whole year, it can repeat every year, and it just prints money without a whole lot of work. It's not rocket science. It's just a tedious data entry stuff, most of it. Anyway, the last one, I had an example for B2B, or business to business, selling to businesses, white collar, if you will, service. Well, not white collar, but we work for like national white collar service that you deliver digitally, whatever, like a back tax relief company, a consulting company. Plastics manufacturer, plastics manufacturing. So in other words, if you have what they call a mold for a part that is normally made in plastic, you take that mold to a manufacturer, and then they can print out with that mold as many copies of the product that you need. And so that particular case, they want people who want to switch vendors because that last vendor screwed up, which is the big one. Or obviously they want to go and try to get a better price. That wasn't their particular prerogative to try to get the cheap people. But anyway, with that said, I didn't need to use any of this funny business landing page, so it varies depending on your market. But all we did for this was I found every keyword that talks about injection molding, service, company, product, firm, agency, everything that had a buying term at the end of it is the only thing I focused on. Then we had a landing page that went to the page and said the keyword injection. If they typed in injection molding service, that's what the headline of the page said, and that right there already $20 a lead. So within that, less than $100, we already had a client, and that client's going to spend thousands, if not tens of thousands, long term. And that's the situation. I didn't have to go and create an offer because it just worked already, and I didn't think that we were going to necessarily need to, because all the rest of the people in that space, the campaigns are garbage, in my opinion, for the most part here. But we could have just as easily said, for special pricing, call this number, and we would have got a higher response rate. Like I said, the main thing is they're looking for quality, which we demonstrated quality by all the reviews on our landing page. The other thing is they want a good deal in terms of price, and they didn't want to sell for a cheap price, so I couldn't use that offer. But if I could use that offer, that's what I would have used, and it probably would, instead of $20 a lead, it could have been $10. That's how much difference that offer would have made on top of everything else. So anyway, that's in general how this how to take a $100 bill, make a sale to keep everything, and build up and use that small, tiny investment to build up a much larger campaign for you that basically makes you rich over time. If you like this video, I have a ton of other videos like this to talk about other PPC strategies that make money on this channel. I very much encourage you to check those out. I have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog, personal blog, where I go through step by step on how to set up campaigns like I mentioned here, if you want to check that out and prefer to see how things are done that way. But apart from that, I encourage you to leave a comment down below as well if you want to try this out for yourself or have questions about it. I get back to every person who asks me a question on this channel about the stuff I talk about. Hope you enjoyed the content though. Hope you actually go out there and try it out for yourself. Try it on a very small scale so that you can wrap your head around it, see how much it works, and then go to town making your money on it like we do here when we set up such structures for the businesses we work with, so you can enjoy it for yourself, see it for yourself.